Have you ever been in a place where your heart felt like it was being pulled in two completely opposite directions? Like you were standing at the edge of a cliff trying to choose whether to jump into joy or to drown in sorrow, but you couldn't pick either. Let me tell you something that I've learned the hard way this past year. Two emotions can coexist. Now, I already know what you're thinking. Stephanie, that makes absolutely no sense. How can I feel happy and sad at the same time? How can I hold space for excitement when my heart is heavy with disappointment? Well, ladies, let me tell you, I used to feel the same way. I thought that emotions had to take turns. Like there was some kind of rule book that said I couldn't feel sorrow and joy at the same time or same breath. But life has a way of shaking what you know and what you think you know about life, as I'm sure you already know. Let me take you back to where this lesson hit the most and where I learned it the best. Last year, I found out something about my unborn son. His name is Bo. To say that I was devastated is an understatement. I had this kind of sadness that makes you want to curl up on the floor and sob and not get up. My heart ached so bad for him, what his life might be, what challenges he might face. I felt like I was drowning in all of the what ifs. What if he lives? What if he doesn't live? What if he doesn't live? How am I going to live? All of the what ifs that can take you down, spiraling into this tunnel of depression. But here's the thing. At the same time, I still felt something else. I felt joy. I felt an inexplicable joy that I was not able to describe. I still was excited to meet him, to hold him in my arms, to become his mom. And that threw me for a loop. How could I have so much happiness while my heart was breaking at the same time? How could I mourn a child that I've never met and yet celebrate his life at the same time? Then I was reminded by a mother in a social media group that I'm a part of where we all have children with the same diagnosis. She reminded me that life is a both and kind of deal. It's not always an either or. You have to choose. It's like Psychology Today says, humans are complex, like two sides of the same coin. Heads and tails might be opposites, but they're still part of the same coin, and so are we. I was reminded of Brene Brown's words in Atlas of the Heart. We can be brave and afraid at the same time. We can love someone deeply and still be angry with them. We can have faith and still doubt. The ability to hold two seemingly contradictory emotions at once is a sign of emotional maturity. That realization set me free. It taught me that it's okay to feel everything all at once. It's okay to sit in the sadness and feel the joy, to hold space for grief while reaching for hope. I didn't have to choose between mourning my son's diagnosis and celebrating his existence. I could do both. And as you see, I still do every day. And let me tell you, that lesson didn't just apply to my pregnancy. It taught me something about life as a whole. Life when I lost a school that I built. My heart broke into a million pieces because, let's be real, that school was a piece of me. But at the same time, I felt a strange sense of peace and gratitude. Losing the school gave me the time and space to pour into my family in ways I hadn't been able to before. I missed what I built, but I loved what I gained. I think of Bell Hooks, who once said, life-transforming ideas have always come to me through books, yet all the knowledge I had about the importance of thinking and ideas did not prepare me for the heartache of knowing, of embracing painful truths. Oh, man, does that resonate so much. She was right. Knowledge alone didn't prepare me for the experience of feeling that truth, but once I embraced it, I found freedom. Here's the thing. We often think we have to choose between our emotions, that we can't feel conflicted or messy. But let me tell you, There's freedom in letting go of that idea. There's freedom in allowing yourself to feel everything. And I know that can be painful, and I know it can be hard, but the hard things are worth doing. Audre Lorde once said, pain is important. How we evade it, how we succumb to it, how we deal with it, how we transcend it. And I think about that a lot. Because the truth is, when we stop fighting the coexistence of emotions, we open up ourselves to lessons we'd miss otherwise. My son's diagnosis taught me to cherish the here and the now instead of being consumed by the fear of the future, which is always going to be there. Losing my school taught me that my worth isn't tied into what I built, but into who I am, because I'm still the same person. And most importantly, feeling it all taught me to simply be. I will also add that through both of these traumas, I have grown as a woman, and I am growing more towards the woman that I want to be. So I want you to hear me when I say this. You don't have to fight your feelings. You don't have to pick one over the other. Let them coexist. Let them teach you. Let them be your teacher. Because the beauty of life isn't in the neat, tidy boxes we try to put ourselves in. It's in the messiness, the contradictions, the joy and the sorrow that somehow live side by side. So the next time you find yourself torn between two emotions, don't choose. Let yourself feel both. As Elizabeth Gilbert says in Big Magic, you can measure your worth by your dedication to your path, not by your successes or failures. Let your feelings guide you, but don't let them cage you. There's magic in embracing all of it. And remember, you are not alone. I am right here figuring all of this out with you, one feeling at a time, one trauma at a time, one hole at a time, as life happens and it keeps lifing. You've been listening to the podcast inHER Daily, where we talk about life, lessons, and how to grow through the hard stuff. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's keep growing together. And remember, keep singing your song because the world needs only what you can give.